being able to clearly identify that this is when the business is going to be done. This is when I don't have to be there every single day, which also means that I get the opportunity to choose the things that I want to do in the business, which tends to be a little bit more fun when we have choice. Hey, welcome everyone. My name is Tanner O'Brien. I am a senior partner here at Action Coach in Central Texas. I am a master coach, and I am here with the concept of marketing and finance and operations and kind of all the data-driven stuff within our business. But over the last week, I was invited up to actually back to my hometown to speak a little bit on a couple different topics to a franchise, essentially kind of all the franchisees of a franchise, a couple different topics. And one of the topics was destination. Really the starting with the end in mind, kind of setting up what does the business look like, where are we headed as business owners, things like that. And it was a really fun discussion that I wanted to kind of bring to y'all, share a little bit with. But it's really about the power of creating our destination or setting like the big goals, right? So, the first kind of key point of this is there's really no use going out there and building a business if you don't know where you're going, right? It becomes insanely difficult to actually make decisions in a business if we don't know the actual outcome that we desire. And it sometimes just like baffles me or is crazy to me to think through the fact that there's actually a lot of business owners out there that we've had some conversation with, and they kind of have this vague idea of what they want to accomplish or why they got into business. But when it comes to like the actual clarity of where they're headed in the next, say, 5 years, it becomes a little bit harder to actually put that down on paper, which then leads to, I don't know if this is the right decision or not when I'm looking at different things within the business. So let's take a few examples to kind of drive this point home. So I always like to joke that I've got a Tesla. It's a super fun car to drive. I've got the full self drive on it. So I click down twice on the little thing, and then it'll drive for me. Kind of a cool little thing. However, the crazy thing is, if I go out there right now and I go sit down in my car and I click click the button twice or whatever, guess what's going to happen? Nothing. Nothing's going to happen. Why? Because I didn't set the destination. Fortunately, the car knows where I'm at today. There's GPS there, yay, but I didn't set the destination. I didn't tell it where I needed to go, so it can't really map the route to get there. Same thing happens in business. If we don't set the destination, if we do not set where we're headed, it becomes virtually impossible to actually chart the course. Now, I could chart the course that goes up this way. I could chart the scenic route that does this. It could be the one that hit these, different benchmarks or points along the way. But the reality is, unless I set what that destination, that endpoint is, I can't make the right decisions to get there. So there's 2 points to this. There's the destination, then there's the starting point. Where are we at today? And these are kind of the two big things to get at. Yes, destination is really big. We also need to know where we are today. That's why we spend a lot of time talking about things like your financial mastery and kind of how you're spending your time and the things that are happening in the business today. Because only by knowing where we are today can we start that path and start to go on this destination that we also set for ourselves. So clarity of that is super important. Kind of the next bullet point to go through is the concept of like give a person direction and then they can run really, really fast. So I was like thinking about this. I'm standing up on stage and I'm like, well, what's a good analogy for this in business? Well, how about if we take somebody from the audience and we set them up, up front, and we put them, in this little square. You say, all right, you're in this square. Now we're going to give you some instructions and things to do. So I tell them to close their eyes, right? They close their eyes, can't see anything. I grab them by the shoulders and I kind of move them around the stage a little bit and then, find a spot and then just stop. And I tell them, all right, so what I want you to do is I'm going to be out in kind of the parking lot over by the one car, and I'm just going to be staying there. Meet me there. I need you to get there as fast as you can. Go. The likelihood of them getting there very fast is pretty low. Like I didn't give really great instructions, said, yeah, you gotta go out to the parking lot. Fantastic. But they're now sitting there blindfolded. They don't actually know where they're at anymore. They kind of have a vague idea, but it's not the exact space that they thought they knew before. They kind of remember what the landscape was in terms of like there's people out there and there's tables over there, but I'm not really sure. So I'm going to be feeling around, right? Like I'm gonna, eyes are closed, kind of feeling around, maybe trip over a few things, run into people. Maybe we get to the destination, maybe not, because even if we get kind of there, we still didn't. We had a vague idea that's parking lot, but I don't know where in the parking lot, right? And this is like the example of how many businesses I've talked to that kind of set goals in their business. It's not clearly defined. Now you take that same scenario, you put them back in their square and you give them different directions. This time, no blindfold, they can see everything. They're in their specific little square. And I say, all right, so we're going to go out those back doors over there. We're going to take a right. We're going to go out into that back parking lot. Do you kind of know what, you following me so far? Yes, I am. Perfect. All right, so in that back parking lot, on the left hand side in the back corner, there's a blue car. I'm going to be standing on the driver's side of that car. I need you to meet me out there as fast as you can. Do you understand the instructions? Yes, I do. Beautiful. Ready, go. Now, eyes are open. They know where they're at to begin with. They can see where they're headed. They know the route that they need to take, and they can say, all right, I can go this way, and I can cut around those people, and I can take that path, where I can go around this way. I might be able to go a little bit faster, but it'll take a little bit longer. So I can chart that path, and I can take off, and I can run really, really fast towards the destination. I know where I'm headed. I know how to get there. I know there's a few different paths. Not only that, but if I'm running, this one direction and somebody stands up in front of me, I can navigate around them and quickly decide, what the next path is. And right, that happens in business all the time. Things pop up that we're not expecting. We got to navigate around them. So this is like a clear example of how and why it's so important to set clear definitions and destination goals that are specific and just really clarify what that outcome is. We can run faster. We can understand the decisions that need to be made in the business, all for that vision that we're headed along, right? So this is where that clarity plus our action actually leads to success. That's why, a vast majority of the first part of any coaching or education that we do is heavily focused on setting that end date, setting when, by when, date and time will your business be done? When will it be able to operate without you? Now, that doesn't mean that you have to exit the business, but being able to clearly identify that this is when the business is going to be done. This is when I don't have to be there every single day, which also means that I get the opportunity to choose the things that I want to do in the business, which tends to be a little bit more fun when we have choice. I set that destination, I set that date and time, and it needs to be doing this much in revenue, this much in profit, which means I need this many people, this many customers, these are the products. Like, that level of clarity makes it so much easier to say, these are the decisions that we're going to make. We're going to focus on these things. We're not going to focus on these things because this is where we're headed, not over there. That's the power of destination in business. Now, there's a couple, key points when it comes to building this that I think are also important. We got to start to be able to identify what these goals are. Um, some people say it makes no sense even, focusing on the things that you don't want, spend all your time focused on things that you do want. I think it can be really impactful as an exercise to look at what are all the things I don't want in my life and my business and whatever, and then be able to transition them, turn them on their head into something that I do want, right? So instead of it being, I don't want to be broke, or I don't want to, not be able to make payroll, or I don't want to, lose money every single month, instead being able to say, all right, now let's flip that on its head and say, all right, instead of saying I don't want to not make any profit, or I don't want to, take losses, okay, what do I want? Well, I want to be able to make X number of dollars in profit. Well, actually, that's not even just what I want. I want X number of dollars of net free cash flow. I want actual distributions I can take out of the business that I can spend and do something with. Being able to then transition them over, I think, is an important part. Because there's three layers to goals. There's the away from goals, getting out of pain. There's the towards goals, going towards a goal. And kind of the third layer then is legacy, things that extend beyond ourselves. So this is the basics of it. But hopefully this kind of illustrates a few key points when it comes to the importance and the kind of the crucial nature of creating a crystal clear outcome that you're striving towards in your business. Now, I will add, as kind of a clarifying point, that doesn't mean that it can't change. If you get a few years into your business and you decide, I don't know that I want the same things anymore, That's okay, right? Things can change. The destination can change. You could hit a certain milestone and go, I think there's more that I can do, or, I really don't want that anymore. And that's just the process of realignment. Alignment is a big piece when it comes to business, especially if you have business partners. If you know anything about our firm, there's four of us that own our firm here, four business partners, all with different ideas of where we're headed. And I remember a few months ago, we're sitting around and we're having some conversation and making some decisions in the business. I'm sitting there, I don't know that I but why are we making these decisions this way? I don't fully understand, right? And it kind of took a little bit of time and a few other kind of flags that were raised, and it's like, I don't know if we're in alignment anymore. Maybe we need to have a conversation at maybe our next board meeting or something like that, where we just like talk through what do we all want out of the business, because we had set out with one specific goal, and it was becoming pretty evident that that's not really what everybody wanted anymore, which was totally fine, like setting the stage for that. So we fast forward a couple weeks and we have this conversation. We sit down. There's all four of us sitting there. It's like, all right, what do you want out of the business? What do you want out of the business? We go through this thing, and one individual's like, I just want to be done in the next couple of years. The other person's like, I want a $10 million business, and then another one's like, I want a $3 or $5 million business. It's like, all right, each of those are very different when it comes to how we build the business, the time frame in which we build the business, the different decisions that we make, how much money we take out of it, all of that stuff. Like every decision we make is different based on each of those outcomes. But having the ability to sit down and have that conversation allowed us to recognize that there was a little bit of misalignment between what we all wanted out of the business, so that we could find the common ground and gain realignment. So when we gained realignment, said, all right, I actually don't want this. This isn't what we want to do. Here's kind of the collective goal that we are now repositioned and realigned on. Well, now we can make decisions that we all agree by and is all towards the end goal that we all said that we want. And that's like super powerful, because had we not done that, we would have continued to make decisions that were like, are we headed towards this path? We headed towards this path. And nothing really would have gotten done. We would have gotten stuck, and it would have ultimately kind of put a downward pressure on the business. So alignment, realignment, knowing that your goals and things can change over time. So going through, once a year or something like that, and just saying, all right, where am I at? Have my goals changed? What's the destination? What do I need to do to get there? Right. This is the process of setting destination. So hopefully this was helpful and beneficial to you today. There's a lot we can get into when it comes to setting destination goals, things like that. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What are some of your big goals? How often do you realign towards the future trajectory that you plan to be on in your business and in your life? But share with us. We'd love to hear about it. Kind of talk through that a little bit. Tell us what other kind of content you'd like to see or different things that you want to hear about, and we will continue to create and share this value back to all of you here within the community. So thanks so much. Again, my name is Tanner O'Brien, Senior Partner here at Action Coach in Central Texas, and we'll catch you again in the next one.